So since I had so much fun with making random characters in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, I decided I was going to try it again with a different game. I made a different chart, this one for OVA, and I did it mostly because I wanted to see how wild and crazy you can get a character using just random abilities from a generic setting game that can work with anything. And since it can work with anything, I think this might actually not work as well as I thought it would, but you never know until you try, right? So the way this works is it sort of uses the character creation method, where the total levels of all your abilities have to be equal to the total levels of all your weaknesses. That was the character creation rules I had in mind when I made this. Another rule I had in mind was none of your abilities are allowed to go above 3, so you're not allowed to have any 4s or 5s. You also have to randomly determine how many abilities you're going to start with. You could also just keep rolling until you're satisfied with how many abilities you have, and then balance that out with the number of weaknesses. And of course, at any time, you can just say, alright, we're done, we're going to go ahead and just stop being random there, so I can have some locus of control over my character, and they don't go full Joel Vargason and wind up becoming Cheeseburger, a Freedom Man. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling, or rather the dice rolling. We're going to roll 3d6 for abilities, as I have here. So 3, 3, and 2. So we have a total of 8 abilities. This is going to be a fairly unimpressive character, not without a whole lot of abilities. For the abilities chart, you roll 2d8. You're going to roll 1d8 to figure out which chart you're rolling on, and then you're going to roll a second one to figure out what ability on the chart you're going to get. So we're going to go ahead and just get this one started. 6, which is right here. We're going to roll for that, and we have 8. So minions, not those stupid yellow things. Under no circumstances would I go with that. But minions means he has some people that do his bidding for him. And then after you roll for the ability, you can then randomize how much of it you have. You could also decide not to randomize it if you want to control it that way. Again, there's a lot of elements that are random that you can just decide to choose for. So this gives you a lot of options if you just want to have something wild and crazy with no sense of predictability. So we have one level of minions, which means we have 7 points left for abilities. And we're going to roll again. Get a 3 and an 8. So we're going to find chart 3, 8 here, which is Spirit Medium. And he has 3 levels in Spirit Medium. So we're already halfway through. This is what happens when you might want to add if you want crazier characters, you can always roll more dice or use some other randomization. 2, 4, 3, which gives us beautiful. So we're going to have a bishy character that's a Spirit Medium with flunkies. And this gives us a 3. So we're already close to the breaking point here. At this point, what we could do is we could just say that our last ability is going to be 1. But, you know what, just so we have more rolling that we can do and more options for this character, I'm actually going to go ahead and say we roll for that, just to see how high this character's last ability is, which is 7. 7, and I'm going to roll again, figure out what he has. 7. 7, 7, lucky. So he is lucky, he has a flunky or 2 probably, and he is strikingly beautiful and a Spirit Medium. So otherwise he's fairly average, so this is not all that wild or crazy of a character. Hopefully his weaknesses are going to make him a bit more interesting. And I also have a separate chart for the different weaknesses. This one runs a little bit differently. You still roll a d8 to determine which chart you're rolling on, but then you roll a d10 to determine which weakness it is that you get. And the reason for this is because this game actually has more weaknesses than it does abilities. So we're going to go ahead and start rolling the bones for that. And once again, you randomize the level of weaknesses as well. So these give you a bit more These give you a bit more leeway, since a lot of weaknesses, you can basically choose how they work. So we're going to find chart 7, which is this one right here. And then we roll the d10 for this one. If at any time your first d8 comes up 8, you just re-roll. We got 6 for the weaknesses. So he has a love interest, which makes perfect sense since he's a beautiful character. So love interest. We're going to roll 1. Okay, so level 1 weakness. So we still need about 7 more points of weaknesses here. Since we're using 3 different dice, we can just go ahead and roll all 3. 2, 8, and level 2. Let's actually get rid of these last 2. We don't need those right now. So 2 and 8. Go to my chart here. 2, 8, amnesia. Ooh, I don't really like amnesia. There's not really much that I can think of as... This is really one that's more useful for the GM, and I honestly don't even know what I would do as a GM with a character that has amnesia. That's just sort of something you figure out as you're going along. For a short-term game, though, it's not particularly useful. And we're going to roll again, because we still need 5 more points of weaknesses. 3 and 5. 3 and 5 is slow, as in physically slow. So, despite his best efforts, he is just not that physically fit. Probably because his heads are in the cloud all the time, because he's a spirit medium. Okay, so we need 4 more. So let's go ahead and roll that. If I can pick up my d4. 7 and 9. 7 and 9, limited uses of something. Limited uses of 2. Limited uses is one that you have to associate it with another one of your abilities. So I'm going to do a post-mortem dump after I read through the rulebook real quick, figure out how exactly that works. And we'll also have a sort of an overview of what this character is and does. But he has limited uses of one of his abilities. Most likely it's going to be Spirit Medium. And so we have 6, so we need 2 more points in his weaknesses. We roll that 4, 2. So that gives us just the amount we need. 8, so we need to reroll that. 4. So 4 and 7, fear. He has a fear of some sort. And you know what? Let's actually say it's ghosts. Ghosts, which would actually explain why he does not like using his spirit medium power, because he can only psychologically take it because it means speaking with ghosts. So, yeah, that's his limited uses of spirit medium. And I'm going to go ahead and read through the rulebook real quick and get a bit of more of the head on what all this means, and then I'll give you the post-mortem dump. Alright, so post-mortem of the character that we randomly created, I sort of came up with some explanations for some of the weaknesses and abilities that we came up with. Regarding Beautiful, this is sort of where his minions and love interest come in handy. Since he is so beautiful, he is able to call on loyal followers that admire his beauty. He's by no means famous, but of his friends, as it were, he has a lot of friends that are loyal to him simply because he is so attractive. And this also, however, has him with some people that are kind of get in the way, that he doesn't really want the attention of, but he has anyways because he is beautiful, he is attractive, and they are insistent that they are meant to be, even though this person simply cannot take a hint. The fact of the matter is, this person is attractive, and it gets him both wanted and unwanted attention. And amnesia, at level 2, it means it was fairly recently, so I said it was about a year ago that this character lost his memory, and he just sort of woke up with the ability to commune with ghosts. And he doesn't really remember much of his life before he had this ability, but he has it now. Slow, there's not really much explanation for that. He's just not very swift. Limited uses does affect Spirit Medium. He's only able to use it 3 times. And lucky is also very wildly situational. There's no guidelines for how and when you can use that. And his fear, ghosts doesn't really work as a fear along with spirit medium, since it would just subtract from his spirit medium dice, which kind of defeats the purpose of having it. However, I decided that the fear was instead of like pentagrams and other evil icons. And that also sort of falls into why he has limited uses of his spirit medium ability, because that sort of stuff just freaks him right the hell out. So all we really need is a name for this character. I'll leave that for you guys. Go ahead and put in the comments below what you think this character's name should be. And if you'd like to see more of these random systems for creating characters, let me know as well, because I actually really enjoy making these. And I also really enjoy making characters using these. So if you want to see more videos of me making random characters, let me know in the comments below as well. If there's a particular game you want to see if I can randomize, go ahead and leave that suggestion there as well. And with all that said, I am Aaron Shadle, and I will see you all next time.